Hey guys, welcome in. Today I'm going to do basically the same thing I did on my simple mineral extractor build video, which if you guys haven't seen that, if you want to go back and watch it, but this is basically going to be the same video. I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail. So first thing I like to do is get in my freighter and scan the solar system, the new solar system that you fly into, so you can get a big picture of the whole solar system and you can try to find what you're looking for, whatever mineral you're looking for, a planet that, might have not have storms or a lot of sentinel activity, things like that. So here I am going into my freighter. I'm going to show you what I mean. So if you go to your planetary probe, you build this in your freighter, you automatically just scan the whole solar system that you just got into. You can get the nanites for it as well. And then you can look at all the planets right away and decide, hey, which one do I want to try to find? That mineral you might be looking for, like I said, low sentinel activity, things like that. So I'm just going to try to find a simple planet to build on, so I can show you just how to make a simple mineral extractor build. And like I said, I'm just going to try to go into a little bit more detail with it this time. And then there's some things at the end of the video that I wanted to show you. And I might have to make another video to go more in detail in that. So we'll see how this goes. So let's get back to the ship. So if you don't have a Corvette yet, this is how you get, to your freighter from your Corvette and then back to your Corvette. Okay, let's try this one. And we'll just, whatever mineral shows up. What we want to do is you want to find, whenever you land, where there's power and the mineral in the same vicinity. You can extend the power, but it seems to me it's just easier if you get out of the ship, you find one that's close, they're close to each other, just makes your life a lot easier. Okay, so to scan, let's go find another one because there isn't a mineral or power next to each other. But you want to scan, right? And then you want to press the F key on your computer. I'm sorry, guys, I don't know what the console keys. You can look up that. But you want to do your scan, right? And you look up search with the F key, and then you have these number pad keys, and you can change it to the power or the mineral sign to see if anything's in the vicinity. And you'll see that when you press F, it'll show up in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, or the bottom of the screen there, and it'll show you the little icon. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to find, usually I'll find like a certain direction I want to go, and I usually like to go north. I don't think it matters. I just flew up. Now I'm going to fly back down to the planet and just try to randomly just find a place where there's power and minerals in the same vicinity. And press F. You see those icons on the bottom. There's the power icon. There is power, and there's the mineral. Okay, so let's run to the power and see if there's any mineral next to the power. Sometimes it's easier to do it this way, sometimes not. Sometimes it's easier just to fly around, but you can use like a shuttle or something like this, to try to get to that area quicker. Let's just run over here to this power. Okay, so we found the hot spot for the power. And then we'll check for minerals. And there's nothing. So there's no power around here, so we're just going to fly to a different area. Okay, let's just fly down here in the bottom. Sometimes this will take a little bit of time. Sometimes you just get lucky and you'll find it right away. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of water here. So we don't want to be trying to search for this over the water. So let's try to find some land. It did my scan. We do our F. We have power. And there's no mineral near the power again. Okay, let's just run over here to the power. Okay, now let's look for mineral. And there is mineral, and it is, look at that, it's an A. You can see the yield on the left side. So this will be a good place to build. So let's just do a build here. So let's go find the hot spot for the mineral and see what it is. Okay, good. So now that we have that and it's silver, which would be good. And I'm going to let's do the power first. So you have to rotate between these icons. And once you find it, you can also go to that first icon on the far left there. Let's try to find it here. This icon right here. So see our power over there? Now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get in between the power and the mineral. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're going to build our base right in the middle of it. So there is our mineral, right? There. So you'll see it's 103. We look at our power, it's 229. So we just want to get basically roughly in the middle. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I think you can only build the power by like 500 units or something like that. So just make your life a little bit easier if you do that. So, okay, so we're going to build our base computer, okay? Okay, so I like to do the power first. And I apologize, guys, if this doesn't sync up. I can't get my audio to work while I'm playing the game. I'm still having some issues, so I'm just talking over this previous video that I made. So once we get over there, the keys to build is Z. You want the Z key to build, and then you'll select whatever you want to build. And then if you ever want to delete anything, you'll just select anything and press the C button and then the X button to delete. So if you move back and forth, you can find where, you know, the strongest point is or the max density, okay? Doesn't have to be perfect, but and the other thing is I found that you really don't want to flatten the landscape. You might, you just want to build off of the landscape. The reason why is No Man's Sky is a little bit glitchy. So let's say you flatten the landscape and you build, and I'll show this in another video, in a future video. You'll flatten and you'll build, and then you come back and you'll see all the terrain grew back. So that's a drag. You spend all kinds of time, then you go back and your base is all weird. I have a few of those that I've done, and I've just left it. But now when I build, I just build it off the ground. So that's what I would suggest. So I'm just basically gonna build everything off the ground, okay? So I was gonna build right here, but the strength, I'm a little bit off to where the strength is, so. So I'll just build a couple of these ramps and then I'll just connect and build it up in the air. Oh, and if you, after you press Z and you select what you want to build, then you can select the B key. And this is the free form key. So you can move the camera where you want to build. It takes a little bit of a practice, but you'll get the hang of it. And this thing's bothering me, so let's get rid of it. All right, let's try this again. Oh, and also, if you press the G key, you can select the color you want to build. So I'm building blue. Just to match the planet, I guess, or landscape. So I'm just going to build a couple of these, and then we'll build a couple of power generators. And then we'll press the B key. So this will give us that free form build. We'll just build like 6. That's probably overkill for what we're going to need, but it depends how many mineral extractors you're going to build. So we'll just build 6 to be safe. Okay, so let's connect all the power. And when you're connecting the power, don't worry about how ugly or, run as many lines as you want, because we're going to hide all the lines at the end. So don't even worry about making it neat. Okay, so the next thing I like to do is I like to put walls around it, and I like to use the windowed glass. So that way you can see the power generators inside. And for this example, we'll just go too high. And then we'll put a glass roof on it. Okay, now we got the wall, so now we can put the roof on there. Okay, so the last thing I like to do is like to put lights around it. So for some of these glass components, you don't have to run a wire, but for this example, you do have to run a wire. And I think in my last video, I said that you don't, but you do. And we can see our power generators are sticking out a little bit. So you can go up and make another wall if you want. I just want to show you the basic idea how I like to build. Okay, so we're going to have to run wire to each of these. And like I said, don't worry about how you run the wire or how it looks, because we're going to hide all the wires. So long as everything is powered up, that's all we have to worry about. Looks like I've missed a few lights on that side. We'll come back. And like I said, these are just suggestions. You don't have to build like this. You know, this is just suggestions on how I like to build. And I will go over that in a future video. Because what I did when I first started playing No Man's Sky, I built a big base with all the plants so I could have money. And then I just started with copper, and then I would get, you know, all the other minerals. So I pretty much have a bunch of bases with all the minerals. I have a gold base, silver base, you know, everything. Indium. Most of the minerals, actually. Okay, so we have our power. The next thing we want to do is run a power line to the ground. Okay, and then we'll delete this. Except that's, you pick something, hit C, and then X to delete. Okay, so now we're just going to run the power to the mineral. Well, actually, we'll run it to the main computer and then to the mineral. And like I said, you can do this as messy as you want because we're going to hide the wire anyway. We'll just run it a couple feet and then drop it and then keep going. Okay, here's our base computer. And this is where we'll build our base at the end. We'll just keep running this power now, the mineral. So you can see the max density moving around. So you can find out where the strongest point is. And that just means it'll generate the mineral faster. And you can press the F and the E key to have that spike out of the ground. I forgot what it's called, but I'm just marking that point so I know where the most strength is for that mineral. I'm going to do the same thing here. Just going to build a floor. And you can use the B key for the freeform. So we're going to build a few mineral extractors. And you have to experiment about how many you need. And then we'll build a few supply depots. And then after that, we'll build the short range teleporter. So obviously, the more extractors you build and the more depots, the more minerals you're going to collect. So when you take off and go do something, then you come back, the more of the mineral you'll have, right? So we're going to add the power to our mineral extractors. The depots do not need any power. Okay, we'll need our supply pipes. This will connect the extractors to the depots. Okay, so we're going to make the floor a little bit bigger because we still need our what was that thing called? The transporter? Short range transporter or teleporter? We're still going to need that. And then it looked like I didn't change the color on some of the flooring, but that's okay. This is just an extra video just to show you guys how to do it. So you'll see how I did the mineral floor. The first floor, I didn't change it to blue. So you can see the difference there. So whenever you build something, make sure you select the color that you want. But it's easy to go back and change it. It's no big deal. So, okay, so we're going to build our short range teleporter, okay? And then we'll leave an open space there. And then once again, we're going to build the walls. Oh, you need to power the teleporter as well. So now you can see it's powered up. Then we can build the walls. Okay, let's do the roof. And I'll leave a little open section there in case we have to jump up in there for some reason. Okay, so let's do the lights. And then we'll have to run the power to all the lights. And once again, don't worry how you run the power lines because we're going to hide all that. So you won't see it. So if you make a mess, no big deal. There we go. It looks like they weren't lighting up. So you can see I'm running wire all over the place, so it's not going to matter. We're going to hide all that. Looks like they're lit up now, no? And you can press F and the E key to get rid of that spike or marker. Okay, so now we're going to build the base right in the middle. And once again, I'm going to build it in the air. And like that movie Oblivion, that Tom Cruise is in. Everything's in the air, floating in space. Okay, so my main base, I like to use the glass. So it's going to be all glass. So first we're going to build just a floor to get started, to put the glass on top. And then we're going to delete the floor. So the glass is on the far left over here on the bottom. Right here. And you got to choose the color again. So you just build one, and then these will all connect to each other. So we're going to build 10 of these. And these should all snap together. And then we're going to put a door. And then we'll connect the landing pad to the door. So it should snap together. I'm not sure why it wasn't snapping together. I think I had to delete a few things to get it and put it on the other side, but I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I had that ladder there. That's probably why. So you might have to delete that ladder first. But it should snap right there where that door is. So let's move the door to the other side. Choose your color. Now I think for here I had to delete the other door to get this one to build, and I'm not sure why. It usually doesn't give me this much trouble, but let's just delete all this stuff out. So it won't let me build 2 doors. And now let's put the door on the other side. Now we'll build the landing pad. Okay, now I'm going to add the lights. Now, if you build these cubes, you do not have to run the wire to each line, and I'm not sure why. I guess it just, the electricity flows through the glass. So once we connect the power to our base here, all those are going to light up. Okay, so this is something I like to do just for fun at the end. Since it's a silver base, we're going to build the silver geck. And you can press the R and the F key to scale it. So I'm going to make it as big as possible with the R key. And it's going to be pointing to the mineral. And then I'm going to put some lights around it. So when it gets dark, it'll light up the statue. And like I said, we don't have to run power to these. It'll just automatically light up. Okay, now we're going to run power up to our base. And since I ran the power next to our base computer, it should be down here somewhere. Okay, you can look up and just connect it to our base. Now everything's lit up and powered. Okay. We'll build our base teleport module.
Temperature levels stabilizing.
And we'll have to run power to that right here to the side. And then we're going to build our short range teleporter. Not sure what that is sticking through the floor. We'll take care of that at the end. Short range teleporter, we're going to build that. And we're going to have to power that up. Now we're going to run the teleport cable. So you're going to click on it and we're just going to run over there to that teleporter. Or fly. So you'll see when you point at it, you'll see that thing highlight up. Now that's connected, okay? Now all we got to do is finish those walls. So it looks like I could have put the walls there. It didn't look like it didn't matter because it went right through the wall. So you guys want to go ahead and build the walls. Okay. And since I had to build the walls, I got to throw those lights up there. And then run the power. Okay, so that's all lit up. Okay, now we'll run back to the main base and we're going to delete those extra parts that we don't need, like the stairway that we built. And I think I built one flooring. We'll delete that as well. Okay, so this is one thing I like to do. We're going to dig a hole with your terrain manipulator. And we're going to go and put this electrical cloaking unit, and we're just going to throw it in the hole. And then if you change the manipulator with the mouse key, the middle mouse key, and you push down, and you can change that to restore, it grows the ground back over it. So we just buried it, so you don't see it. I'm going to delete these extra parts. There, now all the wires are hidden. So all those ugly wires we ran over the place, they're gone. So you won't see those wires. Okay, and you can always build one of these to save, so make sure that something doesn't mess up. Okay, I want to show you guys one last thing before we end the video. And I might make a video to go more detail into this. Let's see, where is it? Okay, so we're going to build a wonder projector, okay? So you're going to build your wonder projector. And then you can save a fauna into your personal records. And then you can add your creature here, okay? So here's some that I've saved. And then you can just add it on there. So I could rotate that around. So you can find, the creatures that you like and you can add it to your wonders. It's right here in the catalog and you'll see the wonders on the bottom right. And then you can see here's your fauna and stuff, right? But you can save it to your personal records, the ones that you like. It's right there under personal records. So once you scan something you like it, you could save it to your personal records and then you can add it to your wonders. So there they are under the personal records. So these are the ones that I've saved that I can add to that projector. So let's try something else. So that's pretty cool, to add to your base. So I might do another video on that. And then I'll go into more details on how you need to upload your base and then you can add a picture and stuff like that. And I'll probably do a tour of some of the bases I've created. So, and then you can test. So now we're going over here. We're gonna get the minerals, right? We jumped in the teleporter right down to where we created that. We're gonna teleport back to our main base. Just like that. So anyway, I hope this video helps some of you guys out. And I hope to see you guys in the future videos.